Before you can start to make a massive splash on Instagram stories, you first need to get started with regular old Instagram. And now it's time to reveal the power of Instagram and how you can tap into it. It's time to learn what it is about Instagram that makes massive stars and just why brands are willing to invest so much of their money into it. In business, there is a very useful term that it pays to understand. That term is value proposition. The value proposition is the way in which you are claiming to offer value to your users. This means you're asking what it is about your products, your services, or your content that makes people interested. How do their lives stand to be improved through their interaction with you? It's all about understanding that the total should always be more than the sum of its parts. In other words, you're not selling the brick and mortar, the physical materials that go into the creation of your product. If you are selling a book on getting fit, then you're not really selling a book on fitness. Rather, you're selling fitness itself. You are selling the feeling of having amazing abs, of knowing that you look great when you take your top off, of knowing that you are desirable. You're selling the feeling of waking up first thing in the morning, full of energy and ready to go. You're selling the feeling of looking great in your clothes, of taking up physical space thanks to your muscle, of walking into a room and making an impression and turning heads. Those are all amazing things to be able to sell someone, and your audience will be willing to pay a big price for that. The same goes for business consultancy. You aren't just selling information, you're selling the dream of running a highly successful business, of wearing slick suits, of having employees, and knowing that what you're doing is important. Your value proposition is your dream. It's the dream that people are willing to pay money for, and it's the dream that will set your business apart from the competition. The dream is what will turn followers into true fans and what will get you likes, shares, and follows. And Instagram is all about selling dreams. Remember what we said earlier. Instagram is about finding art in everyday activities. It's about taking something that is relatively dull and making it seem incredibly exciting. People will often follow others on Instagram because they want to live vicariously and to be inspired. Take a look at some of the most popular fitness brands and how they operate. These channels work by posting images of a perfect fitness lifestyle. You'll see silhouettes of people running against a sunset along a beach. You'll see pictures of incredibly ripped guys standing over weights with chalk on their hands. You'll see pictures of incredibly fit women with perfectly formed rears on the squatting rack. All of these paint a picture that is highly desirable for anyone who wishes they were a bit fitter. They love looking at these images, especially if they aren't happy with their own fitness, because they find them inspiring and because they like to imagine that one day their lives will be just like that. That's also why fashion is so popular on Instagram. There are countless female Instagram stars who post pictures of themselves in highly form-fitting outfits, looking absolutely stunning and thereby making other women highly jealous. Of course, they also tend to have a few male followers as well. And can you imagine what kind of position that puts these women in when it comes to promoting products? With all those followers who wish their lives were just like these women's, their ability to promote a product is, of course, almost unparalleled. Another very popular type of account is the battle station channel. Battle stations are essentially setups for gaming PCs or productivity stations. These are super powerful desktop PCs with advanced lighting setups, multi-monitor arrays, keyboards with insane lighting and awesome pop culture decor. Again, people like to follow these channels as fans of tech because they can use them for ideas, inspiration, and a little bit of lust. What about food porn? These accounts literally just take photos or videos of beautiful looking meals and combine this with recipe advice or reviews of places to eat. Again, though, this appeals to the kind of person who loves cooking and loves eating and who gets a real kick out of making something delicious or finding those hidden places to eat. Travel is another area that lends itself very naturally to these kinds of channels, and it's not uncommon to see people posting pictures of themselves in front of lots of exotic locations. While they come in many different forms, the best Instagram accounts are all about promoting a way of life, a movement, or a dream, and that is where the incredible engagement comes from. If you want an example of how Instagram can work in the extreme, then consider stunting. Stunting is the somewhat strange practice of essentially pretending that you have more money than you do or that you live an incredibly rich lifestyle. A typical example might be to take a photo of your own hand on a car steering wheel. That car is, of course, a Lamborghini, and just to complete the image, you're also wearing a Rolex. Other people will withdraw lots of their own cash so that they can lie in a bed along with lots of piles of it. Or they'll take photos of themselves on first class flights when actually they're just passing through to go to the toilet. People who wish they were better off and who dream of this kind of lifestyle will then often follow these accounts just so they can live vicariously and imagine that it's them with all that money. Sometimes they will even know that the stunter is faking it, and they won't even care because they're just happy to see those images and to pretend along with the creator. It's a strange practice, but it just shows the magic of Instagram and what a powerful impact that can have. To get started and to do the same, you're going to have to choose the niche, or niche as it's sometimes pronounced, that you want to focus on. A niche, of course, is a subject matter, and it can also mean your industry. A niche means more than that, though, because it also defines who your audience is and what the value proposition is, and more. As you can imagine, certain niches will lend themselves a little better to Instagram than others. We've just seen how effective fitness can be as a niche and how other things like fashion, food, and more also work well too. Of course, though, it can pay to try and avoid competing directly within a massive niche. While this is still outlandishly high, engagement has been going down somewhat on Instagram as numbers have risen. The obvious reason for that is the more people are on the platform, the harder it is to stand out and make a splash. If you want to sidestep direct competition, then try choosing a smaller niche within the broader category. So, for instance, if you're going to tackle fitness, then you can always try going with something slightly different or more specific, like fitness for the elderly, outdoor fitness, weightlifting, calisthenics, etc. Likewise, if you're going to choose fashion, then maybe you should focus more on plus size fashion or on retro fashion, on fashion on a budget, etc. By giving your brand something more distinct to help it stand out, you'll find that more people want to follow you and that you make a bigger impact as a result. Of course, there's a good chance that you already have your brand and you're just looking for a way to promote that brand through Instagram. In this case, you'll want to consider how you can take whatever your industry or niche is and make it into something a little more visual and inspiring. For example, if you happen to be in life insurance, you might be wondering just how you can make that as inspiring and visual as something like fitness. Well, the good news is there is a way. You just need to choose a theme that is highly related, that will appeal to the precise same audience, but isn't necessarily directly the same as your product. Ask yourself, what is the value proposition of your business and how can you portray that in a visual way? There are essentially two value propositions when it comes to life insurance. Those are looking after your family and improving your finances. You can focus on either of these for your Instagram account. Either you could post lots of pictures of happy families in nice houses doing things together, or you could post lots of pictures related to money saving and living a cost-effective lifestyle. Either of these accounts would give people a good reason to follow and would potentially be inspiring, but neither is directly on the nose. Another option is to choose a personal brand. Now, a personal brand is essentially where you take your own persona and make that into an indistinguishable part of your company. You become the public face and you bond with your audience by allowing them to feel as though they're getting to know you. In many ways, Richard Branson is a personal brand. Likewise, you can also think of a lot of top bloggers and vloggers as being personal brands. The great thing about a personal brand is that people become fans of you and not just the product or service you're promoting. From there, it's your job to demonstrate that you live what you preach. Your personal brand and your lifestyle match what your product is about. So, if you have a blog about fitness and you have a personal brand, then your post can be of you working out, or you eating healthy meals, of you going on healthy walks, etc., etc. But the difference here is that you're also going to occasionally include photos that are more related to your personal life. Maybe photos of you out and about with your friends, or photos of your other hobbies or your dog. If you get this right and you've built enough of a relationship with your followers, then they will like getting these insights into your life and they will all become part of your image. Note that a personal brand works very well for Instagram stories, which have that very personal and intimate feel. If you don't currently have a personal brand, then you might want to consider exposing yourself a little more to your audience for the purposes of this new tool. Once you've chosen how you're going to approach Instagram, all that's left to do is to get started with an account. For all the recent additions and innovations to Instagram, one thing is missing, and that is the inclusion of any kind of website. While there is a website, and you can find it here at Instagram.com, it's very limited in scope. You can scroll through your home feed on here and you can like photos and videos. But what you can't do, though, is to upload photos. For that, you're going to need the phone app for iOS, Android, or Windows Phone. Using this, you'll be able to sign up and create an account, or use your existing Facebook account. And from there, posting photos is a simple matter of hitting the plus icon in the middle down at the bottom, and then choosing the photo from your gallery or taking a new one with the camera. There's also the option to record a new video here. Once the photo is taken or uploaded, you can then add filters, edit the photo, and write comments underneath. It's all very self-explanatory, so we won't go into it in a lot of detail here. Congratulations! You're now on Instagram and you're now ready to start building a massive following and creating some real trust and influence.